It is time for one more Goro finisher. Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to this thing that I do called Thor's Entertainment. I am Thor, and this is going to be a Fatal Friday video. Fatal Friday being the series where I went into the Kombat League as a very average Mortal Kombat 1 player, and I was trying to get the unique finishers for each character, including the cameo characters. Now I have covered 3 out of 4 finishers for the Kameo Goro. Today I'm going to be covering the very last one. That is going to be his throw brutality titled Make Up Your Mind.
You trained my ancient ancestor?
The great Kung Lao was my grandest champion.
Take one. Action!
So this set is going to be against somebody using Liu Kang in the cameo version of Kung Lao. I have seen this combo used really well before, and I know Liu Kang is capable of doing some pretty hard-hitting combos, but most of the people I have fought against using Liu Kang tend to just run away the entire time and throw projectiles instead. This person's Liu Kang is going to be doing a little bit of both. And this is going to be one of those really weird sets where we both occasionally will land some really good combos, but we also spend a lot of time dropping some potentially really good combos as well. Go ahead and toss in some throws and projectiles, and we are going to have a pretty varied set. Now he does toss around a bunch of projectiles, but he also rips off a 387 damage combo against me in this first round. So I was going to have to be ready to navigate around a projectile war, and I also had to be prepared for Liu Kang closing the gap and trying to go for some big combos like that one again. I do not do a good enough job of adapting to that early on, and Liu Kang ends up taking the very first round. Early into the second round, I realized I can armor through Liu Kang's projectiles and hit him if he is close enough. And that is going to be important because if I time Goro well enough, that armored attack can become a full combo. But in the second round, I do end up dropping it the very first time that I try it, and that's going to be something of a trend going forward. Even though I did not pull off the full armored combo, I did at least still corner Liu Kang, and I ended up answering his 387 damage combo with a 403 damage combo of my own. You gotta love it whenever either player has the potential to hit really hard at any given moment. It makes it where no life lead is safe, and it makes the match way more interesting. Unfortunately, I could not keep Liu Kang cornered for long. Liu Kang even pulls off a throw combo against me, one of the more useful parts of this Liu Kang and Kameo Kung Lao pairing. That turns a normal throw into over 200 damage, and it also ends up closing the health gap between me and him. A little while after that, I popped Liu Kang into the air for what should have been a round-winning combo. But I dropped it when he was one hit away from defeat. I was pretty worried I would lose after that because Liu Kang did do another throw combo against me, and I suppose he could have comboed into his fatal blow, but for some reason he did not do that. And because he did not finish the combo that way, I was able to salvage the round, and I ended up winning with a desperation dive kick. The final round of this match is a very long one, and it is going to be pretty close the entire time. Now I hope you enjoyed those fairly offensive first and second rounds because this one is going to be a lot more defensive. There are not going to be any major combos to speak of in this round at all. We just keep barely chipping away at each other with small hits between taking turns blocking. Neither of us were really giving up much, and whenever we did mess up on something, we both seemed to be missing out on those few opportunities that we had to punish the other person. The result was having this round come down to the final seconds, so I would just have to become very throw happy again and just try throwing him over and over again to try winning. In fact, I was going to have to take inspiration from somebody that I fought in the previous video that I covered on this channel. If you did not happen to see that, I'll go ahead and explain here. I was fighting against somebody using Reiko trying to highlight Goro's fatality. And in that fight, my opponent using Reiko was the one that was throwing me over and over and over again. I mean, he was well over double digits by the time we were done. So I needed to take that same energy and apply it here. And with that mentality, I go on to land 3 consecutive throws, and 3 consecutive throws later, with only 2 seconds left on the clock, it was Brutality Time.
This outcome was preordained.
Brutality. Kung Lao wins.
And that is going to be it. With only 2 seconds remaining, that throw landed just in time and did just enough damage to defeat my opponent, and that ended up resulting in the Make Up Your Mind brutality for Goro. I am genuinely surprised I got away with throwing Liu Kang 3 straight times. I basically did the same thing every time too. I was just jumping in and then immediately throwing. And I had already thrown him a lot in the rounds prior to that, so pulling that off 3 consecutive times was a pretty lucky way of winning. I mean, I figured eventually he was just going to duck and uppercut me, but I mean, I will take that victory and that brutality. And now I am thinking about how much throwing was occurring in that previous match. Because Liu Kang has his throw combos, and I already throw a bunch anyway. So I'm thinking this is going to be the second video in a row where I put up the throw counters. We are going to see who ends up throwing the most. Now I did this in my other video when I was fighting against Reiko, but I ended up losing that throw competition. Even so, I think I might end up winning this one. And we just wrapped up the very first round of the second match, and we are moving on to the second one, and I have been dropping combos a lot. That fortunately got salvaged a little bit by landing a solo Kung Lao combo that should have again ended up in over 400 damage, but I ended up dropping it at the very end, and that made me settle for 361 damage. That is still pretty good, but I would love to have done just a little bit more, because that should have been the end of the round, but it is fine. Liu Kang survives just long enough to give me an excuse to throw him again, and that is just going to increase my score. That is how I won the very first round, and the second round has been another story entirely. But eventually Liu Kang does adapt and rally. He just pulled off taking away my life lead very strongly by doing a 353 damage combo, and I was in a bad spot. I thought to myself, at least I'm in Fatal Blow territory, and like we saw in the last video, I do have 500 plus damage Fatal Blow combos I can do with this team. So Liu Kang was in no position to become comfortable because with the right opportunity I could come back. Now that does not end up happening because he ends up taking the second round, but I can come back if the situation were to come up again. So now we are back to another final round, and this third and final round is not ideal for me. Like I mentioned a moment ago, I have been consistently throwing Liu Kang, but this is the pre-Chaos Reigns era of the game, so Goro and Kung Lao, their throws are only going to be doing 110 damage. That definitely does not replace the kind of damage I would be getting from doing some real combos, and I really was not landing very many of those. Most of the combos I was going for, I was dropping, and I was trying to make a comeback again. It was going to be a tall task, but the scenario I was just talking about actually happened. While I was clinging to life in Fatal Blow range, I pulled off a good combo and I ended it in the Fatal Blow. The result was doing 511 damage, and either of us could have won that round. I jumped in ready to try and throw and get that brutality one more time, but Liu Kang was over it, and he ends up kicking me before I could grab him. So Liu Kang ends up winning the second match. Almost every single round up to this point has been super close, so the final match was going to be interesting. I felt like I could win, but I knew I could definitely also lose. I had no idea how this was going to end. So after a mix of successes and failures and wins and losses, yeah, both sides had reason to be nervous going into this final match. That definitely showed early on whenever we were both kind of dropping or just not committing to combos at times in the very first round. For example, I landed Kung Lao's overhead, but I did not summon Goro fast enough to toss him into the air while he was still bouncing. I also did a small armored combo, but I did not complete it, so I ended up settling for only 220 damage. And on another occasion, I even landed the first hit of Kung Lao's combo that pops the opponent up into the air using his knee, but I did not commit to that combo, so after one hit, I stopped, and there was not a pop-up combo. And Liu Kang was messing up too. At one point, he kicked me into the air and he dropped me while he was trying to keep the juggle going. On another occasion, he started a throw combo that probably should have won him the round, but he mistimed it and it kept me alive. There was just in general way more damage that should have been dealt on both sides, but we were messing up a little bit. But in the end, Liu Kang would end up getting another shot at that throw combo, and he did not mess it up again. As a result, he ended up winning the very first round of that final match. So after that, I had to win 2 consecutive rounds if I was going to make a comeback and win this really close set. I talked a lot about dropped combos earlier, but not every lost opportunity I had was a drop. Now, I would occasionally land these starters for some of my more damaging combos, but it felt like every single time that happened, Liu Kang had enough meter to break away from that combo. That happened again in this round and ended a combo that would have been close to 400 damage. That is okay though, throwing got me all the way here, so maybe throwing even more is going to be the way that I pick up this win. So I threw Liu Kang shortly after he broke away from my combo. I even got an incomplete combo with Goro after that, so Goro was definitely being helpful in this round. Close to the end of the round, Liu Kang was really low on health, and I would try throwing him again to win the round, but he had learned. Rather than letting me get away with that again, he armored through my attempt and put me on the defensive where only one good combo would be enough to kill me. But I managed to stall long enough to get the win by throwing him like I originally intended, so thank you, Goro. All 3 matches have gone down to a final round, and this is going to be the final round. It is going to decide the winner of the entire set. I had 3 bars of meter left, so I was in pretty good position with plenty of resources. We both got some damage early on. Liu Kang ended up doing a throw combo, and I ended up doing an armored combo. Both went for about 220 damage, and they had been really useful tools for both of us throughout the entire set. Even though those aren't really super damaging, we were just really consistently landing those against each other. Liu Kang would go on to do another throw combo, but this time he drops it. I tried punishing his whiffed attack, but my attack just gets me close enough for his kick to land, which launches me into the air. And I remembered seeing that same combo starter go for about 387 damage earlier, so I absolutely had to break. I hated losing all that meter, but it was the only way to guarantee I was going to survive. I get hit a few more times and I am 1 combo away from death, but I end up getting really lucky. I land my highest damaging combo starter and then Liu Kang breaks again. After that, he tries closing the gap and starting a combo, but his attacks end up whiffing. And this time, I do end up punishing his whiffed attack. I was getting so lucky because I ended up getting the exact comeback scenario I was wanting. I landed my Fatal Blow combo that can do over 500 damage to potentially win this match. I was button mashing as hard as I possibly could for extra damage. He had 514 health whenever this combo started, and I have exceeded that amount of damage doing this combo before. But today, it does not. He survives with only 0.77 health remaining. I do a desperation dive kick. He activates his fatal blow. Who hits first? I do. And I end up winning with a dramatic comeback.
Kung Lao wins.
That may not have been the cleanest set that I've ever played, but it is one of my favorites just because of how it ends. That last round was just crazy. I got the perfect comeback combo, my opponent survived on the smallest margin of health, we do simultaneous attacks, and it all came down to who was going to hit first. That was just a fantastic ending. And on top of winning the entire set, I got the Make Up Your Mind Brutality for the Kameo Goro, which I'm going to make sure I show at the very end of this video, that way we can all enjoy it one final time before we part ways on this Fatal Friday. And yeah, thank you to the random Liu Kang opponent that I got to fight against this time around. And I don't think I could have asked for too much more considering how close it was from start to finish. It's not often I get multiple comeback scenarios like that were really cool, so I am pretty happy with this one. But yeah, now that the set has come to an end and I got that brutality, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Thank you for watching this video and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to check out the other videos I have on the Thor's Entertainment channel. I do have other finisher videos just like this for Mortal Kombat 1, so if you enjoyed this one, feel free to check those out. Oh, and I completely forgot to check and see who exactly won the throwing competition, even though I definitely already know the answer. I'll go ahead and throw the results up onto the screen now, and the winner is my Kung Lao. So we may have lost to Reiko in the throwing competition previously, but today we get the victory against Liu Kang, both in the set and the throwing competition, so hooray. Thank you for watching this video all the way up to this point. Take care. Hopefully I will see you next time.
This outcome was preordained. Brutality. Kung Lao wins.